there, Jeff. Randy, I'm going to go for John Wall of the Washington Wizards. And I think because John not only has shown he's a special player, but all he does is get snubbed. He got snubbed for the all-defensive team this year. They put Isaiah Thomas on the all-defensive team before they did John Wall, who led the league in steals. So I'm really happy, and I can tell you right now, I'm almost assured that John Wall will be the MVP next year.
Going into this past season, a lot of people were early MVP candidates, and as the season progressed, we all saw that the race was going to come down to most likely LeBron James and James Harden, as it did, as James Harden won the MVP. There were numerous candidates at the beginning of the year. Some of them balled out and then fizzled out due to the lack of winning or them just not putting up the numbers that they used to, and some of them just bombed the expectations that we met for them. And that brings me to John Wall, because I'm not trying to bash John Wall in this video, but I want to make a point here. John Wall is one of the better players in the NBA, and in my opinion, one of the better point guards in the league. But over the past few seasons, John Wall's career has been very up and down. I mean, when it comes to his relationship with Bradley Beal, there were numerous reports that they did not like each other in the beginning when they played with each other. And I thought that John Wall would take the next step last year and not win the MVP or anything, but definitely elevate himself and put himself in the conversation among the top 3 point guards in the league, as you have players like Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, and Chris Paul in the top 3, in my personal opinion. I thought John Wall could crack that top 3 and maybe drop even Russell Westbrook out of it. Who knows? But the problem that I see with John Wall is that John Wall, over the past few seasons, has been a model of inconsistency. As you look at the 2016 NBA season, he averaged 20 points and 10 assists while shooting 42% from the field on 35% shooting from 3. But then the next season in 2017, you have John Wall, who dominated that year. He averaged 23 points, 11 assists, 2 steals while shooting around 45% from the field and also 80% from the free throw line. This to me was John Wall's best year throughout his entire career, as that entire season, though he did average double-double, he also led the Washington Wizards to nearly 50 wins that season with a record of 49-33. Took the first seeded Boston Celtics to 7 games, hit the game-winning shot in Game 6, though he did have a rough Game 7, I know, but still, it was a good thing for John Wall to do. But the next season, a lot of people had a lot of expectations for the Washington Wizards. I mean, they win nearly 50 games the year prior, and the next year, the Eastern Conference was as wide open as it has ever been. And look, I know John Wall suffered from injuries and things like that, but his numbers, even when he was healthy, were not the greatest of numbers. Throughout the season, he averaged 19 points, just under 10 assists, a steal, a block, while shooting around 42% from the field, 37% from 3, which was a career high to his credit, and also shot a career low from the free throw line at 72.6%. Now, when John Wall did return in the last 4 to 5 games of the season, he averaged 20 points, 13 assists, but also 6 turnovers, shot 44% from the field, but he did shoot 47% from 3. In the playoffs, in the 6-game loss that they had in the first round to the first-seeded Toronto Raptors, he did not look that great at certain points of the series. Though his numbers may look good on paper, averaging 26 points, 12 assists, and also shot 44% from the field and 85% from the free throw line, you gotta look at other aspects of the game. He nearly turned the ball over 5 times a game, and for a guy that shoots below 33% from 3 throughout his entire career, there is no reason why you should be attempting nearly 4 3-pointers a game. And what makes it even worse is that he shot 19% from 3. So those were not smart decisions to shoot that many times from the 3-point line. And in the closeout game, though he did have 23 points and 8 assists and 5 rebounds, he also turned the ball over 4 times and shot below 41% from the field and 20% from 3, as he attempted 5 3-pointers. That's a game that they lost by 10 points, turning the ball over 4 times, shooting poorly from the field, and basically shot chucking 3-pointers. I guess that's going to contribute to the loss. And in a game that DeMar DeRozan shot 33% from the field and Bradley Beal dropped 32 points as well as 3 rebounds while shooting 45% from the field and shot 60% from 3, that's a game that is very winnable. And I love John Wall. I think that injuries did hurt him last year, but there is not an excuse for you to go out there in the closeout game and have a performance that he had. And look, this thing when it comes to players being injured and that excuses them to have a poor performance, well, if you're hurt and your team needs you to perform at a certain level in order for them to succeed, why come back early, get hurt again, and then come back not at 100%? Because you're putting your team's success on the line just because you want to prove that you can play through an injury. That's why I look at Kawhi and I say, look, if he was not ready to come back and they needed him to perform at a certain level in order for them to have the success that they wanted, why would I put my own health on the line knowing that it's not going to benefit anybody in this situation? The same thing goes for John Wall. And look, I think that John Wall going into next season has all the pieces around him in order to at least be a top 4 or even top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. I'm not saying that he has to go out there and win 60 games with this roster, but he definitely has a roster that can contend in the Eastern Conference and even push a team like Toronto or Boston to possibly 7 games. He has Dwight Howard, who's coming off of one of the better offensive seasons ever since he left Los Angeles. You also have Bradley Beal, who's a traditional 20-point per game scorer who can space the floor and can handle the ball a little bit. And that's the problem that I see with John Wall. Because look, John Wall, he has been a player that has been inflating a lot of his assist numbers because he handles the ball too much. You have John Wall, who kind of reminds me of Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, and even Carmelo Anthony to an extent. They like to dominate the ball. And I'm not saying that there's something completely wrong with that philosophy and that way of playing the game of basketball, but when you dominate the ball all the time, it's going to make the defense really collapse on you. And that's what I think John Wall suffered in Game 7 against the Boston Celtics in the 2016 NBA season. Because John Wall, as great as a passer as he is, he cannot always handle the ball and expect teams and defenses not to collapse on him, especially in the playoffs. And when he's shooting around 40% from the field, that explains it. John Wall needs to share part of his ball handling duties and responsibilities with Bradley Beal. Because when Bradley Beal was the sole focus of the offense when John Wall went down, Bradley Beal, in my opinion, showed that he can handle the ball for this team, get others involved. And now that they have Dwight Howard, who gives them a solid rim protector, and let's be real, their center position was the worst position and their weakest position every single season that was hurting this team. That's why you always saw rumors that they wanted to trade for DeMarcus Cousins. And also him having Otto Porter, who can space the floor and can defend, not at an elite level, but at a really respectable level. There is no excuse for John Wall not being at least a top 4 seed and leading his team out of the first round of the playoffs. And when I look at John Wall, I still think that he has the potential to be at least among the 3 best players in the Eastern Conference. But right now, you have players like Giannis coming up, Kawhi Leonard's in the East, and who knows if he's going to stay with Toronto, even though I do doubt it. You also have Kyrie Irving, who led the Boston Celtics to over 50+ wins last year. You also have Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. How long is it going to be for those players and other young players in the Eastern Conference to eclipse John Wall? And this is a guy who not long ago I thought was the second best player in the Eastern Conference behind LeBron James. And now that LeBron is gone, he has the chance to prove why he can be among the better players not only in the East, but in the entire NBA. So John Wall next season, he's got to step up, okay? The ball is in his court. He's got enough weapons, enough pieces around him to lead this team to at least 50 wins or at least around that area and be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference and contend with teams like the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Raptors. No excuses. It is up to you, John Wall. You got to lead this team. And with players calling him out like Marcin Gortat saying that he's not the greatest leader, or at least insinuating that, he's got a lot to prove next season. And if he can't get it done and the Wizards have another disappointing season, they're going to have to consider either trading him or Bradley Beal. Because if they can't make this work and find some level of consistency and success, they're gonna have to move on in a different direction. So you guys let me know in the comment section what you thought about this video. What do you think about John Wall and how he played last season in comparison to how he's going to play or how he should play this season? Y'all let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hit the bell next to my name to be notified after each and every single video that I post. Follow me on social media, especially on Twitter. Those links will be down below in the description box. Y'all have a great day. I'm out. Peace.